You keep telling yourself that you're waiting for clarity, that you're going to move when things make a little bit more sense, when the signs light up and the timing feels right. But waiting for your purpose to find you is how you quietly abandon yourself, because purpose will not meet you at the plan. It will meet you in motion. And every time that you hesitate, comfort starts paving a lesser path for you, one that looks more stable, one that feels responsible, but it costs you your aliveness, and you can feel it. But you're living a fraction of it. And you'll tell yourself that you're being patient, that you're waiting for divine timing, but you're postponing the life that's truly calling your name. And today, we're going to talk about what really happens when you keep standing still and you allow comfort to be your compass, and how to start walking without a map. Because your purpose isn't hiding, it's waiting for you to move. Welcome to the Enlighten podcast, where I am going to take you into a deep exploration of what it means to exist in this current reality. We are going to raise your vibes, open your mind, expand your heart, and dive deep into the wondrous mysteries and possibilities of this lifetime. There's been a spiritual catalyst that has set in motion the awakening process of many across the globe to return to the knowingness of self and unite what has been separated. Together, we're going to bring light into that darkness. We're going to remember the joy of living. But most of all, we're going to turn up the volume of our own eternal power and do the thing we're here to do. Welcome to the Enlighten podcast, everyone. I am doing a solo episode off the heels of a retreat 10 days ago. And today I'm going to talk to you about a subject that I wrote about in my email newsletter that went out today. And that is that if you don't walk your path of purpose, comfort will pave a lesser one for you. And I'm going to go through certain points here because I want to elaborate for you and actually use an experience that most recently happened to me to explain why you will never discover your purpose while standing still. You will never be able to meditate long enough for it to finally sink in. It doesn't work that way. Trust me, I've been on this path for a very long time. And although you may get flashes of insight of what it might be, you will never truly understand the full potential of what your purpose is calling you towards until you start moving. And I'm going to explain why this is so important. So, your path of purpose is absolutely unknown at the beginning stages. Some of you may already know your purpose. Some of you might be dabbling. Some of you may be completely lost into what you think that is. But it's certainly not waiting for you to keep standing still. All right. It wants you to move, because when you don't walk your path of purpose, something lesser starts walking it for you. And it's not going to be fate. It's not going to be bad luck. It is inertia. Okay. It is that quiet gravity of everything you've been avoiding. And I know that for those of you who find yourself in this position, you know how heavy that can feel. It begins to weigh down on you the longer you remain stuck or simply not moving, not choosing comfort, okay, over purpose, because comfort will always mask itself as safety. So life doesn't wait for you to choose, though. It keeps you moving. And what you don't claim will absolutely get claimed by your comfort. And avoiding your purpose will not make it disappear. It will simply invite something smaller to take its place. Okay. And that something smaller will be something that feels safer, something that feels easier, something that certainly asks less of you, but it costs you so much more. And so that's how you know when you're waking up and your life looks fine on paper, but inside it feels all wrong. When you wait for something to come to you, for something to happen, and I'm not talking about trying to rush something. I'm not talking about trying to move something faster than what it's meant for. Okay, there's a difference. You know when you're procrastinating. You know when you've been waiting too long. Okay, because it's fear that's dictating your choice of comfort. I'm not talking about giving space for things to naturally and organically flow towards you. So I just want to make sure that we don't confuse that, because in the spiritual journey, we can certainly use spiritual bypassing to choose those ideas and apply them to ourselves when that's not exactly what we're doing. So a lot of times, people will come to me because they don't know what their purpose is. They need help discovering it. And to be fair, I can see a lot of the bigger picture items. Okay, I can see the bigger energies of it, and I can see this through my own method of what I use to decipher, decode, and pinpoint what it is that we need to find. And again, for those of you who've been using my courses, you've been working with me or listening to this podcast for a long time, you know that I use the body, I use your astrology map, which I believe is your soul blueprint, to then layer information in to find that. Now, that is all well and good to get some insight into it, but it is so important that you start to actually move, because the frequency of waiting is only going to attract more waiting. Waiting for the money to come in, waiting for the timing to align, waiting for the right person to show up, waiting for the right teacher to show up. This is where you cannot afford to delay, because the longer you wait, the more the universe will respond to you with more waiting. Now, it's so important to understand this when it comes to your path of purpose and what you're feeling called to. Okay. And right now, your path of purpose might feel like a really deep healing journey. Maybe there's physical ailments going on in your body and you're feeling this deep need to really go into that. Or maybe it's a change of careers. Okay. Or maybe it's finally putting yourself out there for a relationship. Maybe it's changing relationship, leaving one behind to follow a different life path that you now feel called to. Whatever it might be, trust and rest assured that it should feel scary. If it doesn't feel scary or risky, it's not the one. It's not the one you're looking for, okay? You are looking for something that makes you feel alive inside if you start moving towards it, when you start doing it. The problem is that we have a lot of safety guards in place, okay? But these safety guards are only temporary and they will only bring comfort for so long, like the paycheck that covers everything except your sense of purpose, the schedule that is constantly keeping you busy, making sure you feel important, okay? But never actually moves you forward, or the big milestones that impress everyone else around you but leave you feeling hollow inside. Because when you don't actively claim your purpose, life will fill in the blanks for you. And it won't be the path that your soul desires, just the one that your comfort zone allowed to enter. So, waiting for your purpose to find you is how you quietly abandon yourself. And you can't map your purpose from a distance. And I think that is something that so many people get wrong. If there is anything that you take away from this podcast, let it be this: you cannot map your purpose from a distance. You only see it clearly once you're moving. You can't think your way into your purpose. You can't meditate your way into your purpose. Okay? You must walk your way into your purpose. And I know that there's a lot of people who are like, well, what? How do I possibly walk into my purpose when I don't know what it is? You know what it is. Don't tell me you don't know. You have a calling. There is something that is nagging at you, something that is pulling at you, but you dismiss it. You say, maybe in another couple of weeks or months, or maybe next year, or maybe when the kids go off to school, or maybe whatever it is, you come up with all these reasons why it's not yet. Okay. But here's why it's important. I'm going to give you an example. Okay. I'm going to give you a living example of what I mean. Because when you walk your way into it, what happens is you are making decisions now and gathering real data instead of endlessly gaming scenarios in your head of what could be. All right. By committing to one direction, whether it ends up being the right one or not, that's where everyone gets tripped up. Don't worry if it's the right one. Just commit yourself to one direction long enough for it to reveal what's next, because you don't get to see what's next until you start doing the first thing in front of you. And by following the ideas that scare you, because they make you feel alive. And that's the whole point. A lot of people are silently living in a soul decay from not living their purpose. Okay. The path of purpose isn't revealed to the person who's planning perfectly. Okay. And for all my Virgos out there, you know what I mean. Okay. It's revealed to the one who's already in motion. So let me give you an example. I have now highlighted to you that fear is a necessary indicator that will bring up the very real potential of risk for you stepping forward on this path. Okay. That is a necessary ingredient. You are meant to feel uncomfortable. So if you're still comfortable, you're not adding the right ingredients into the mix here. You should feel uncomfortable. Sometimes crisis is what has to occur in order to move you out of your stagnation, which is something that happened to me. So, at the retreat 10 days ago, where we were hosting the fifth retreat in Eagle Vale, it was a more intimate retreat, which allowed me to host the retreat on my own, which was really interesting because um I how do I say this? I was thinking to myself, why is it happening this way? Why is it that I'm going to need to do this retreat alone? Like, why is everything lining up this way? And but again, when I meditated on it, there was a part of me that understood something is happening this way for a reason. I just didn't know what the reason was yet. Um, so of course, I host this retreat, and the first day was wonderful. Loved, had returning guests, new guests, loved reconnecting and connecting for the first time with people. However, the second day, which is the day of the journey, that day just felt off for me. And I couldn't put my finger on it. I felt weird, like weird in a sense of not because of anyone else, but just weird within myself. And I was second guessing myself. When my confidence was starting to like wane. And I just was like, what is going on? And of course, we go into the ceremony period of time. And my boyfriend had come up to the retreat to help me set up and prepare some of the food and all of that. And he was getting ready to leave for his golf weekend with some friends in another part of the mountain. So he was leaving for the rest of the weekend. And so as I was outside saying bye to him before they started their ceremony, I just started crying. I just looked at him and tears just started streaming down my face. And he's like, baby, because you got this. And I said, I know, I don't know. I just feel off. And something inside of me was bubbling to the surface that I clearly wasn't able to dismiss anymore or avoid. And it was just time. It was time. And you'll understand what I mean as I go through this. And so I'm taking everyone into Journey, and I've got this amazing playlist set up, which I'm super happy. Like I can tell you right now, the playlist I was super proud of. Stacy, who was there for the fourth time, told me it was definitely the best one. It topped even the first retreat playlist. I was super confident about the playlist, but you know, we were using these mushrooms, and normally I would believe that the dose would have been correct, but unbeknownst to me, the potency of the mushrooms had declined. And so while we're about an hour and a half in, and I'm starting to realize it's not hitting them the way that it should. And I start to panic. I start to panic internally, trying not to show it on the outside, but also knowing because I know Nicole, your energy, you're guiding the ceremony, your energy is going to be felt in the room. And so I'm like trying to, really kind of come up with a solution on the fly. And luckily for me, I had these microdose taffies and that were like, really super easy to eat and chew. And so I went around to each person and I said, would you like just to up the dose slightly? And everyone was on board because everyone was just hovering below the threshold, right? Like they were almost there, they just weren't yet there yet. And so we adjusted appropriately for each person. And at that point, I was sitting with myself and I still did not know if it was going to be enough. Okay. And I'm sitting there going, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening right now? Like, this is my fifth one. If anything, these should only be getting stronger and better each time. Right. And I started to just crumble inside. I started to panic even further because obviously it takes a little bit of time for that to kick in. I would say 20 to 30 minutes. But I had to really make a choice in that moment because I was paralyzed by this idea of waiting. I was like, Nicole, maybe if you just wait and see the medicine, maybe it'll kick in and everything's going to be fine. And I just sat there with myself and I'm like, no, that's not what you do. That's not who you are. You do not wait for things to happen in these modes. You have to take control of what you can control. There is a difference between also needing to surrender. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to surrender and let everything happen the way it's going to, but I'm going to control what I know I can control. And in the end, it ended up being the biggest teaching moment and blessing for me for where I'm at in my personal journey, both in business, spiritually, just with myself, you know, in understanding that I simply had to get to work. I had to get to work as the shaman, the conductor, the ceremony leader of the room. And I allowed myself to drop into the music, which is really easy for me to do because I love this music so much. Um, and I allowed the music to move through me and I connected with it. I was also, for the first time, building fire, which was another element that brought out something new within me. The fire, here's another thing. The fire has been speaking to me since the beginning of this year. I have been told that I have a window of time to work with the teacher of the fire, or I will miss that opportunity. Like it comes in and it's there and it's available, but if I wait too long to work with it, it passes by and then I'm just, I miss it. Okay. And so, and who knows, maybe it'll come again at some point. But I knew that I like this year I had to work with fire. The problem was is that I just didn't have a space to really see, and here I am even making excuses. I didn't have a space, so I didn't have the right, conditions or all the kind of things that we always tell ourselves, right? So this retreat provided the best conditions possible under crisis. And so for me, I'm like under this pressure of there's no way I'm going to allow the people who came here entrusting me with their time, their spiritual journey, their money, their weekend, okay, to allow any sort of option for failure. Like it just was like I just went into this mode of like it's just not an option. It's non-negotiable. It ain't happening. And so I started using the fire and it started speaking to me and I started dropping into the music and my hands started moving and it was just pure channeling because my hands moved at speeds I have never, ever encountered before. And this is not really on a lot of medicine. I had a microdose, but I wanted to be really clear with them. So it was a very small microdose. And so I just allowed everything to drop in and flow through me. And I used every tool, every piece of wisdom, knowledge that I had accumulated over the time. And I just used it to move that energy and build the frequency. And what ended up happening was through this moment, a part of me died. A part of me died that didn't believe that I was truly perhaps the medicine woman and shaman that I wanted to be. And part of that comes from, and this is something that I know many of you will also relate to. This is very common. I went through this at the beginning stages of my business in 2016, 17, when I started building my coaching business, my reading business, all of that was, well, I don't have any schooling. I don't have any degrees. I don't have anything behind me that says, I can charge money for this and people should entrust me with this and all of that kind of stuff. But the reality is, deep down, I know, and you know this for yourself as well, you were born to do this, whatever this is for you. And through this experience, I connected with such an ancient remembering that crosses so many different lifetimes of me being a shaman or a medicine woman. And I connected with it so deeply that my body remembered, my cells remembered. Remember your mitochondria, okay, the little energy batteries in every single cell is what holds the light quotient for your consciousness. And I could feel everything buzzing in my body and coming alive with memory. And so through this, I birthed a new version of myself, the version that's been laying dormant, that's been wanting to come online. But I didn't realize that it was going to take something so near and dear to my heart, like feeling like I was about to lose it or disappoint someone or multiple people, that I would finally call on it. And sometimes that is what happens when we wait too long. Um, and so what was very interesting is that I can tell you, of course, from my perspective, I can see the energy in the room creating a vortex going up into the high ceilings. We had vaulted ceilings. I always try to have vaulted ceilings at the places that I go to. Um, and I could see all of this beautiful, very heavenly kind of white energy weaving through and vortex-like energy through the entire retreat space. I was, of course, again, singing. Okay, let's just talk about that. Singing. I typically don't like to sing because I don't think I have a great voice. However, when I really allow myself to enjoy the song and sing something from a passion, like I feel the music so deeply and I resonate with the lyrics, I gotta say, my voice ain't so bad. And so I'm like, why do I hold myself back? Why do I think it's not good enough? And the more I've stepped into this willingness to show up, even when I'm not really sure what's exactly going on, you know, I find the answers. I start to understand things more clearly. And now, because I moved without truly understanding what I was supposed to do, other than I'm just going to call on everything I possibly can. I'm not going to try and think my way through this. I'm just going to flow with the energies, do everything that my spirit, my soul is asking of me. And the part of me that is so ancient and remembers to let that step forward and put my ego to rest, like take a back seat. And so through this birthing, a new part of me was born. And I decided to do a journey of my own because I haven't really done a deep journey, medicine journey this year. I've done little mini ones, like here and there, but I haven't really done maybe one. I've done a full journey. And I just felt after this retreat, it was really important that I do one. And so on the weekend, this past weekend, I did my own. And aside from some really cool shit coming up that I've never seen before, the most important part, the most blessed part of the journey was while this song, Madrecita, was playing, which is again one of my favorite songs. The mother, the medicine of the mother, okay? Whether you want to call her Mother Ayahuasca, Mother Earth, the mother energy, okay? And I started to sing this song. This is about 3 hours into my journey or so, three and a half. And so I'm in this part where I'm starting to come out of the high vision, but I'm still deep in the feeling. And as I'm singing it, all of a sudden my heart just explodes open. And I feel all of this love that is like coming through all these different timelines and lifetimes. And it's just this, and it's all converging into this one point, this one love for the medicine, for the ceremony, for the mother. And tears just poured. I sobbed and sobbed. Just this deep and beautiful love that if you've ever fallen in so deeply in love with someone in this lifetime that you're that blessed to truly fall in love with someone, this was even surpassing that. I felt so in love with the medicine and the mother energy of the medicine. And I realized this is what I'm born to do. This is truly part of my purpose. And it's not that anything that I've done up until this point isn't part of my purpose. They were all of the steps that I needed to move through that were very foundational and still very important to my purpose. But I had to build and keep moving and building to get to this crescendo of love for what I do. I've always loved what I've done. And in some cases, I've fallen a little out of love with some things, like when I was a massage therapist, I loved what I did, but I fell out of love with it. Some of it was falling out of love out of exhaustion. But also I was bored. Um, it was, but it was crucial groundwork for where I am today. And I realized in this moment the appreciation I felt, the gratitude that was so all encompassing. It was in me, around me, through me, breathing life into me. And just, I was exhaling gratitude. Like it was so fulfilling to feel how lucky I am to be so in love with what I do and to see how much I was holding myself back from truly experiencing this. And part of it was because, when I was kind of basing some of the way I guide people on their journeys based off of someone who, guided me and taught me. And I was kind of, I was using my own stuff, but I was also like, maybe I should do this or do that or whatever. And I realized, no, I got to do it all my way. And my way is ancient. My way is not written, at least not in some text I can read somewhere else. It is written in my DNA. It is written in my etheric field. It is like, it is alive and pulsing in my choices to move with it. And so the beauty of this is, and here's where I thought, and this is where everyone at the retreat corrected me. This is where I thought maybe I wasn't guiding people because I wasn't guiding them the way was taught to guide in a sense of how I saw others guide. Okay. And everyone at the retreat corrected me when I said, I guess I wasn't really guiding you, but I was moving the energy and all of that kind of stuff. And they said, oh no, Nicole, you were absolutely guiding us. Every time you sang, every time you drummed, every time you moved the energy, every time you came closer to us, they said the visions got stronger, the colors were more vibrant, and the love increased in the field around us. Like they felt more love. Like one of the girls, I came over to her and she just burst into tears because the love was so strong. And I just listened. I simply listened to my internal compass. Okay. The higher self, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. Okay. I listened to that and allowed that to move me through the room, and I never questioned it once. And this is how you move without a map, okay? Because a lot of us think it's going to be laid out for us. But trust me when I say the only time you're going to have a map to your path is when you're following someone else's. And that's not the way I would recommend to follow your purpose. I love to help people discover their own way without the map. Let the map reveal itself in hindsight, okay? And it will. And it will make a lot of freaking sense later on. But in the moment, it'll feel confusing. In the moment, you'll be like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. In the moment, you'll be scared shitless. In the moment, you'll be questioning everything you're doing. And good. That's how you know you're on the right path. Your path has not been walked by anyone else before, at least in this particular lifetime. Your map is a living, breathing soul document that only comes alive when you move. If you're stagnant, if you stay still, if you choose to wait too long beyond, again, I want to make this clear, beyond what is a reasonable sense of allowing for space for things to come to you, then you are killing the vibrancy of your DNA coded map that only comes alive through action. Don't worry about making the wrong choice or wasting time doing the wrong thing. You're already doing the wrong thing, wasting your time, most likely. And I know that's going to trigger some people, and it may sound a little controversial. And yes, I said it that way on purpose so that you understand fully. Choosing to do something different than you already are when you want change is the best course of action you can take. Because you can't have something change if you keep doing the same thing, right? So, understanding that this path of purpose that elusively, okay, to many of you may feel like it lays in front of you somewhere, but you're not exactly sure where. I promise you, you will not find it until you're in the throes of it. You cannot predict your purpose from a distance. You need to be in real time, actual movement, energy moving around you that's related to your purpose, okay? That's throwing the dust up, kicking the dust up, making things move to understand what's happening. So, this is why I do my work, okay? I do my work for those people who are ready to move, look really ready to move. That's where I excel because I understand this path deeply and I am still on it. And I hope I never get off of it because if I do, that means my time here is over. Okay. I collapse the distance between the life you're currently living and the one that's tugging at you when you try to stay comfortable. My job is not to motivate you. Okay. If you're someone who needs motivation, I'm not your girl. I'm certainly not. But if you're wanting disruption to what you've been avoiding, I can help you bring that freedom in. Okay. I can help you navigate the pathless path of purpose. That is what I love to do. Okay. On top of ceremony now. And so everything is kind of ebbing and flowing and changing. You've got to understand that wherever you are in this moment, as you step forward, you will get a better view of what's ahead of you because you're going to be closer to it. Okay. You're going to see things more clearly. You're going to see things that maybe were down behind a hill, behind a bush, whatever, beyond the horizon. You keep getting closer. If you just stay where you are, it's all a guessing game. It is always going to be a guessing game. And truthfully, if you're worried again about wasting your time doing the wrong thing, you already are. So it can't get worse than that. So look, the longer you delay the inevitable, the louder the purpose will demand that you meet it. Okay. And that means crisis is likely to follow, hence what I experience. Look, it doesn't matter who you are, where you are in your journey, what you've been through, what you're doing. We all have our own Achilles heels. We all have our way of avoiding things and staying in our comfort zones. Okay. But when you're called upon, you've got to answer. Okay. You've got to answer. So working with me is going to end the version of you that keeps kind of circling your purpose like a ghost. Okay. And instead of having, your self kind of haunt your purpose from the outside, like feel the purpose from within you. So I I would like to hold. I am really, what has come up from this particular experience for me is also realizing how my next level in the work that I do, which I still am going to keep doing the work that I'm doing, but I know I now need to add on and start putting more time and energy into ceremony because I thrive in ceremony. I love it. We did two journey nights at this retreat for the first time ever. And not only did every guest benefit from being able to go so deep from two journeys because it built on the last one and they were able to go even deeper and have even the ones who've been there before just said both of them said that this topped all the other retreats that they had been to. And I love the ceremony. I love the medicine, reconnecting with this ancient love that I truly didn't realize was so alive inside of me. Like I knew it was there a little bit, but I didn't realize it was the thing that just makes me feel so connected to Source. And it's where Source delivers through me at its best. And I have to allow that. I have to make myself available for that. And so I want to start holding smaller retreats so I can do them on my own more often. It's like a win-win situation, I think, because it's double ceremony. I get to do everything that I love. You get to reap the benefits of a double ceremony and me being in my absolute joy. And so I will, if you're interested in coming to the next retreat, just email me, Nicole at NicoleFrolick.com. I'm looking at January 2026. We are going into a 1 year. This year is a 9 year. Next year is a 1 year, which means it's time for new beginnings. It's time to leave everything behind. Okay, so it's a really big year for starting something new. Um, but if you're really ready to start now and you don't want to wait, I highly suggest working with me. Okay, and I'm going to leave links below through either working with me one-to-one or in a group setting through my Velocity Vault. Those are ways that you can. So don't allow yourself to stand still on the path of your purpose, because comfort will absolutely pave a lesser one for you. And that is how you abandon yourself, because you are here to feel the love of Source flowing through you in service to others. Without a sense of purpose, we all feel like we're dying a little inside. And this is why I don't believe in retirement. And I think retirement is an outdated form of how people are going to be living their lives going forward. Because when you love what you do, why would you stop doing it? Without a sense of purpose, there's no reason to be here. And again, that purpose can be very different for everyone. We are here to experience and learn through that experience. And one of the best ways to grow through that medium is through living your purpose. Guys, I love you. Have a wonderful week. Next week, I have a fantastic guest on for you, a brand new guest. It's going to blow your mind. Very inspiring spiritual journey of going through the darkest possible challenges that life can offer and overcoming and living life in his wildest dreams. That'll be next week, guys. I love you. Have an incredible week, and I'll see you next time. Thanks again for joining me for another show on the Enlighten podcast. I love you guys so much for all of your continued support. So remember to raise your vibe, find your tribe, and be open to the infinite possibilities held in the mysteries that surround us all. Thanks again for sharing the show with your family and friends. And if you're new to the show and you need to find out more information about me, please head on over to my website, NicoleFrolick.com, where you can join my newsletter. And please follow me on Instagram, Telegram, and YouTube. Keep your light bright, and I'll see you next week.